is helping. But face to face is coming off. You should still think of making it hybrid so that you embed the two. For us who are far away to also have a feel of whatever is going on. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that submission, and it's well noted. All right, so in absence of any question in the first part, we would like to move on to our second and main presentation for the day. I would like to invite our speaker, who is a health educator and a counseling psychologist at Olebu Teaching Hospital, Madam Sabaina Kuma Ansa. She will be taking us through comprehensive writing. All we need to know as practitioners, she will take us through. So let's enjoy. Madam Sabaina, you can have the floor.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yes, please. Good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, man.
For the opportunity. Okay. So today we are going to talk about professional note-taking, right? And referral notes. So,
okay, please, we'll be glad that you could raise your voice a little for us.
Oh, okay. Hello. Please, am I audible enough?
Yes, I think it's okay now. But there is a feedback.
It should be a bit higher.
Thank you.
Please, all those who are not speaking and their mics are on, please kindly mute for us. It's giving us feedback. Please, those whose mic are on, they should please mute. All right, madam, please, we can go now. Please, you are muted. So please, can you unmute yourself and speak?
Hello.
Yes, hello, we can hear you now.
Yes. We are talking about professional note-taking, report writing, and referral writing. So let's begin with the note writing. So what is counting? Thank you.
Yes, I'm on the second slide.
Counting notes contains purely information about the session and not your opinion, analysis, and imaginations. Yes, please, it's okay, yes. So, they are also confidential documents. So that's all we need. Take notes. Why do we take notes? The notes we take can serve as service record. It becomes part of the company you work with.
Please, we can't hear. We can't hear. We can't hear. Please.
Yeah, please, can you?
So why do we
please, can the volume come up a bit? You are not audible enough.
Please, in fact, we can't really hear you, please.
I am the maximum volume now. Is it better? All right.
No, it's better.
No, please, we can't hear you.
why do we take counseling notes? So like I was saying, counseling notes say for the company you work with or for your, you can always fall back to it to remember what you did in past years. And also the notes we take can serve for research, because what you write can tell you the number of clients you saw within the period. For instance, the number of females you saw, the number of clients who came to you with suicidal ideation, depression, anxiety, etc. Also, we take notes because it is a professional requirement to keep accurate and appropriate records of your clients. Another reason for writing notes is that it may also be requested for at any time, either by your client or by the courts. It is important to take a good note because the notes can save both you and the counselee in the event of legal action. This note can serve as a source of evidence when that happens. The next slide, please. The counseling notes also serve as an aid to memory. Whatever you are writing is a form of recording the content of the session. Therefore, you can always fall back to it to remind you of whatever happened in the session. Also, it also reminds you of the information that you wish to share with your clients. Example, assignments you wish to give your clients, your leave details, activities of the next session, then how many sessions are left. All these can be captured in your notes. And then also, the notes is a way of noting the actions you took as a counselor. Mostly when we talk of notes, it's all about what the client said, what the client did. But here, we are learning that it is an opportunity for us as counselors to also note the actions we took, such as the referrals we made, assignments, and then the interventions we gave. Next, please. Now let's look at who can request for our notes. The notes we are taking are confidential, but it can be requested for by various people. One of such people is the clients themselves. And of course, we have to let them have a look at their own notes. They don't need permission to have a look at their own notes. And then also, a judge may request client notes. That is when it gets subpoenaed. But here, you don't need to rush because a court has given you an order to disclose client confidential information. No. Rather, you need to be patient to read the order to have an understanding of what exactly the order is requesting from you. So when you get subpoenaed, it is either you are to be present at the court to give a testimony, or you just have to be at the court at a specific time. So make sure which of them is the court asking you to do. And then ask how the court order is giving you all the conditions that requires disclosure of client secret notes, such as the client consent, a protective order, or any other legal mandate. Lastly, how do you check validity of the court subpoena? You have to make sure that the jurisdiction is right. The jurisdiction must be right, because if you are operating in Accra, you can't So you see, anytime you get a court, also rush at all. Rather be patient to check for all these things before you respond. All right. So the investigator may also request for the notes. That is, if the client has died. And in the same way, you need to check, they must actually come with a court order as well, and check for the validity, as we have just shared, before you respond or before you give out any confidential details of your clients. And in all these scenarios, remember to contact your supervisor or your professional colleague for guidance. Please, let's move to the next. Okay, so now let's look at when we are writing our notes. Clients at intake because their possibility of happening is so high. So right at intake, you need to discuss what the limits of confidentiality are. That is there a harm to self? Is there a harm to a child? Is there a harm to the aged, the disabled, or have you been subpoenaed by the court? You
Please, can you repeat that? Because we didn't hear you.
must know that this situation can actually move. It is always right to let them know. Yes, please. Hello. So I was talking about key areas that we need to note. And I said that we must always be smart about this so that we talk about it with our clients right from intake. Yes, because their possibilities of happening is so high. So I took the first point and I said it is important that you share the limits of confidentiality with your clients at the beginning of your therapeutic relationship. So I was just saying that we already know the limits of confidentiality, such as is there a harm to self, or is there a harm to a child, the aged, the disabled, or have you been subpoenaed by the courts? We need to discuss these limits to confidentiality to your clients so that should they happen, clients understand that this condition forces you to disclose. And then also, who can access which notes? You have to talk about it, it's very important. And then how long the notes are retained. The client's notes that can be retained for a maximum requesting for their no. So I believe that these three key areas must always be talked about right at the beginning of our relationship. And then you state them also in your notes. Okay, please let's move on. When should counselors write notes? Is it during or after sessions? When should we write notes? Here, your orientation may determine when and how you write your notes. For instance, the person-centered counselor rarely writes notes in the presence of clients because involves a lot of cognitive and more use of paperwork during sessions. It's because they have been trained to take notes in sessions. So what they do is that they just follow guidelines and we are okay. So typically your orientation can determine when you take your notes. Okay. So now let's look at the types of notes that you have. Three types of notes. That's the intake notes, the progress notes, and then the termination notes.
In progress.
So this webinar, pay attention to only the intake notes, and probably in our subsequent webinars, we'll look and then the termination notes. So what are intake notes? What is it? The intake notes is the recording of personal or demographic information and relevant details about the client at the beginning of the therapeutic relationship. The intake note also tells the counselor who the client is and their current situation.
Particularly that are
Hello? Okay. The intake note tells the counselor who the client is and their current situation. The information on the intake note is mostly acquired from the interview or the questionnaire that client responds to, either before coming to therapy or on the day of the first meeting. Also, Dr. Sandra, kindly move. Also, the intake notes informs the counselor to plan and to provide appropriate therapy. Kindly move to the next. The intake notes inform to plan and provide appropriate therapy. Yes, since the intake period is the first time you are hearing the client case, it is also a good time for you to make that decision to be of help or to consider referral. Important. Referral, period of retaining client notes, and who can access which note, so that the client knows what to expect from you. Very, very key. Now, let's take a look at a sample intake form. Let's look at a sample intake form. So typically, this is what I use. And since it's an information gathering tool, you can choose to include different background information of your choice or take out some, just depending on the kind of clients you receive and where you work. So let's go through it. The first is client name. And then the date will come, the date they came to see, but please, it goes beyond that. So always find out. And then the age, marital status, then past counseling history. This is a very important information that you need to check on. If the client tells you that they have been to counseling before, it's a good way to start. But then to tell you how the experience went, etc., etc. But if the client tells you that none, I have not been to any counseling session before, it is a fine opportunity for you to tell them what goes on in session, not come to session, you, the counselor, to read their mind and the education or job history, health or medical history, another important one. If you happen to know that your client has allergies or is asthmatic or is even epileptic, you will know that anytime you are about to meet them, you don't need to put on certain perfumes to trigger them. And also, you can make arrangements for assistance should your client have a crisis in front of you. It's a very important information there. Data has to do with the client's phone number, addresses, etc. Then the general appearance, then major language. Yes, you have to check the language of the client. If the language will be a barrier, here is also another point for you to decide whether you refer or you continue. Then the client will sign. The form doesn't end here. It continues to this part. So to presenting problems. What brought the counseling session or your counseling room? The more than you need to ask a lot of clarifying questions, complaints. And then you help them set their goals and objectives. And then the working conceptualization. How do you understand what the clients have told you? What do you make of it in light of a theory, so that you'll be able to come up with an intervention that will solve the client's problem? And the recommendations, the next visit, the billing details, and then the counselor you sign with your name. So the information you gather from here can simply make your notes, the intake notes. Yes. Please, let's look at some formats of note taking. Yes, there are several formats in taking notes. However, we will pay attention to just one today. That's the SOAP method. SOAP method. The SOAP method because it is the ideal for intake interview session. So it's simply an acronym. It's an acronym for subjective information, objective information, assessment, and then plan. Okay, so that's the acronym for SOAP. So the S part of it is, no, please go back. So the S part is the subjective. Here, it takes information directly from the client. What is the client telling you is their complaints? What is the client telling you? Here, there could be more complaints. So you need to ask a lot of questions, clarifying questions for that matter, to get them all. Because of that, you can actually expand the subjective information part of the note to another acronym called the old CAT. It's just to help you write more specific notes about your client's symptoms. So let's see what the old CAT also means. The old there represents onset, when the client symptoms started. The L is location, when does the client experience the symptoms? And then D is duration, how long has the symptoms been going on? C is characterization, how does the client describe the complaint to you? The A stands for alleviation, that is what makes the complaint worse. Does the symptoms move or stay? Then we have T, that's the temporal factor. Does the complaint get better or worse at certain times of the day? And then lastly, the S, standing for symptoms. Symptoms are what the client tells you is going on psychologically, physically, or emotionally. Since this is the client's subjective opinion and what they feel, they should always be included in the S part of your notes. So let's continue with the other words in the acronym. So the O part is the objective information. What
Madam,
see the client
Madam,
do?
Madam.
What do you see the client do? Here, you need to sharpen your observational skills. Otherwise, you're going to miss a lot of body language. Then the A part is the assessment. The
Please,
A part is
with the old cards, the ART,
yes.
the ART was not. We didn't hear it well. The ART.
Oh.
Yes. The only thing we heard
Okay,
was the symptoms.
I'm sorry. Let's go back then. Okay, so I'll take it again. So I was saying that the old
I will be glad to be more audible later. Thank you.
Please, the sound is not good at all. We are not hearing you.
The client symptoms. So I was saying that the O stands for onset.
Sorry, Madam Savannah, I think there is an echo. I don't know where it's coming from. There's an echo. So it's making a sound difficult to hear.
Really?
Yes, please.
I don't know where it's.
Please, are you using two devices?
I am on.
making the sound not.
No, I'm not.
Please, those of us who we should mute
I don't
our
know.
mic.
Maybe it's the reception.
We should all mute our mic.
Okay. So as I was saying, the O is on, the L is location. Where does the client experience the symptoms? The D is the duration. How long has the symptoms been present or has been going on? Then the C stands for characterization. How does the client describe the complaint to you? Also, am I muted? And then the A bit says alleviating or aggravating factors. What makes the symptoms or the client's complaints, what makes the complaint better or worse? Then the R is radiation. Radiation. Does the client complaint stays at one position or it changes with location? And then the T is temporal factors. What makes the complaint better, or does the complaint get better or worse at certain times of the day? Then lastly, the S is the symptoms. And that is what the client tells you is happening physically, emotionally, or that. It's important that you add all these bits of information to the subjective part of the note. Yes, please. So now we can continue with the other alphabet in the soup. So we're talking about the objective information. Here it talks about what you saw the client do while they tell you what their symptoms are or their complaints are. And I was saying that you need to sharpen your observational skills here, so that you don't make the A part is assessment. So from what you have seen the client do and what you have heard the client say, what do you make of it? How do you understand? What do you think is happening to the client? So we take an example to give us clarity. The first, quite a number of examples. The first one is that, okay, so it's a scenario. So Fema met you this week. Sandra, can you move your slide, please? Fema met you this week and you took this note. Fema met you this week and you took this note. Okay, so the expert says, I don't appreciate how, they don't appreciate how hard I'm working. That's the complaint of the client. They don't appreciate how hard I'm working. So while the client is telling you this, what did you see the client do? Client did not sit down when she entered. Client is pacing with his hands clenched. Client sat and is fidgeting. Client is crumpling a sheet of paper. So you see, now let's move to the other part. And the A part, from what you have heard and from what you have seen, you think client needs ideas for better control, some ideas for stress management will help. And for your plan, you can encourage the client to practice conflict resolution scenarios. Technique. So this is a typical example of how you can put together your intake notes. Another example would be, so let's see our example 2. Let's move, please, Doc. Our example 2. No, please go back. The second example, it says, a peer came to see you today and shared this with you. Okay, so this is what a peer is feeling. I'm tired of being overlooked for promotions. I just don't know how to make them see what I can do. So this is the chief complaint. Now, what did you see as a counselor? What did you see her do while she tells you this? So client is sitting in a chair, slumped forward and burying her face in her hands. So this is what you saw her do. You put it down. And then as your assessment of what you have seen and heard, you think that client needs better ways or better ideas to communicate her thoughts to her boss. And also needs ideas for the client needs to ask for more responsibility. That will draw attention to
We can on a page on a thief that one.
and then as
Hello, please, good evening. Hello.
And as Sabana, please kindly unmute and speak, okay? And as Sabana, please, you are muted so we can't hear you.
I'm
Hello,
sorry. What is happening?
please, to help reduce the distraction, I think those who have their videos on should turn it off so that the interactions and the feedbacks to reduce a bit. That will go along.
Not only the videos, the mice, those who are talking at the background.
Yes,
Mice
please.
also
The
have to be
videos
muted.
and the microphones, at least it will reduce the feedback a bit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So like I was saying, so as a plan, you can encourage the client to practice what she wants scenario, asking for what she wants scenarios, volunteer for roles within the company that are unrelated to her current job. Probably these can actually draw attention to what she does and the amount of contribution she's putting in the job. So you see, you can, with this information, I believe that writing your intake notes will be as easy as that. Okay, now we can move to referral writing. Referral writing. So referral is the act of transferring or directing an individual to another person or institution for specialized service or assistance that is not available at the original source. It is important to emphasize here that referrals are made for the purposes of specialized services. They do not necessarily mean that the individual has a serious problem, but may be due simply to the fact that the problem or the concern is simple as that. As a result of that, possible must be done to avoid making the referral an emergency situation. Everything possible must be done to avoid making the referral an emergency situation. Also remember to discuss referral at the initial stage of the relationship. We'll see why it is important to do this at the initial stage. Okay, this is just an example to give us more understanding of the meaning of referral we just shared. Okay, so the first one says a senior high school counselor refers students to employment agencies because the agency is equipped to assist them with job placement, of course. Or a hospital counselor refers a client or a patient who is exhibiting psychotic behaviors aside their chronic condition to the psychiatrist, specialized service. Or a counselor suspects there may be a medical reason for the client's emotional state, and so refers the client to a medical doctor, specialized service. And then lastly, a counselor refers clients to another counselor who is specialized in handling cases such as addiction. Okay. So at least 2 misconceptions around the nature of referral decision. Let's try and bust them before we continue. The first one says that referral is sometimes viewed as occurring only in times of emergency. The truth is that referrals are made for the purposes of obtaining specialized service and nothing else. The second misconception says referral sometimes causes counselors to either unnecessarily prolong or quickly terminate a relationship. The truth is that the relationship may actually last informally a lifetime. I believe that all of us have handled clients whom we have terminated with, but they keep calling back, speaking to us, sharing their life issues with us all the time. So referral does not mean that you cut the client off entirely. Also, when you refer, you will get updates from what is happening from the specialized source that you send them to, questions or checking out to ensure that the desired change has been achieved. So that misconception is not okay. Let's go on. Now let's look at some cogent reasons to refer. Cogent reasons to refer. The most common reason to refer that we all know is when you don't have the experience or you don't have the skills to handle the client's case. However, there are other genuine grounds that you can base on and then make a referral. One is lack of time. Lack of time. If you don't have enough time to take the client through all the number of sessions that is required to bring a solution to the client's problem, please refer. If you are not interested in a particular story or in a particular case, kindly refer. Also, a lack of experience, skills, and competence, quickly refer. And then when the relationship between counselor and the client is counterproductive, please refer. A typical example is when a wife who doubles as a counselor attempts to counsel the husband after a fight. What are you expecting to gain from this? It doesn't work. Also, a counselor who is putting in maximum effort to continue having sessions with a rude client, you wouldn't yield maximum response. So it's better to refer. And then sex, if you're not comfortable handling males because you're a female, refer. Or if you're a female, but you still are not comfortable handling female clients, please refer. Or vice versa. And then religion. I mean, if you're a Christian, you are not comfortable with Muslim, just refer. Or vice versa. Then language. Language barrier can mar the beauty of your session. So please be sure that you understand the language of the client. Otherwise, refer. Next slide, please. Now let's look at the referral decision. The referral decision. This is the subjective decision of the counselor. But let me say that it is a professional necessity for you as a counselor to have the ability to recognize when the need of a particular individual calls for procedures that are beyond your scope. It is a professional necessity. So if you're a counselor, always ask and pray that God will help you get the ability, or let your skill and training make you have the ability to recognize that the client you are handling needs something more unique that you can't do. It doesn't make you a failure, not at all, not at all. So the essential question here is how and on what criteria does counselors decide when they are unable to be of professional assistance? So let's look at it. Okay. So let's see, the counselor's subjective judgment is made. Well, the kind of case can actually determine your judgment. The kind of case can determine the kind of judgment you make. So the counselor also always screen their observations of verbal and non-verbal behavior of clients against an image of the kind of person they are, their experience, their training, and beliefs. Let them know that they can be of help or not. The counselor can also consider the nature of the presenting problem. I think I just mentioned that. Then the context or the life situations within which the problem exists can make a decision based. Next, then the amount, and then the degree.
If you are yes,
for counseling. Here, cases such as addiction takes a long time to handle. So please, if you don't have that ample time to take the client through all the sessions, please make the decision as quickly as you can to refer. Then lastly, the competence should also push you to make the decision as quickly as you can. Okay. Now, before we continue, let's take note of something. Although the referral decision is ultimately the counselor's to make, it is not wrong at all to discuss the situation with a professional colleague or a supervisor. And in doing this, you don't need to ask for the client's permission at all. No. Because I remember in school, yes, I remember our lecturer told us that you can actually discuss confidential information with people who understands the information you are sharing. And of course, the professional colleague or the supervisor understands. So you can do that behind the client so that you can come up with a good decision. The reason why you need to discuss this with them is that they can actually make input into your referral decision. Know that we are in this together. Don't ever think that you have been trained and so you can handle all. No, collaborate with all of us so that we make the maximum for our clients. And then another thing we should take note of is that the referral is a suggestion you are making. It's not, it shouldn't be compulsory anyway. It's a suggestion, and the suggestion can be rejected. Yes, the suggestion you make to the client can be rejected. Should this happen to you, please don't interpret it as a failure on your part. No, no. Also, be prepared as a counselor to cope with resistance, doubt, fear, guilt, and defensiveness anytime you discuss referral with your client. That is why I mentioned that always mention it at intake so they know that something like this is possible, is bound to happen. So that should it happen in the course of your relationship, they are not new to it, they are already aware. Please let's make progress. Okay, so now the referral process.
Please, we lost you. Sorry, can you take it again? We lost you.
Government suggests a referral as the appropriate course of action. Discussion with the client becomes the next step. Yes, because as soon as you make that okay. So I said the referral process to suggest a referral or transition, else referrals can be effective. So every decision you take, you need to discuss with the client, guide and help them, let them see the relevance of your true self Let them know that you are being truthful, that indeed, yes, you've been trained, you are a professional, but this one goes beyond your scope. Okay, so let's look at some critical questions. What kind of special service does this person require? Is it available? If yes, where? If it's not available, how do we assess it? This bit is on the counselor. As a professional, you should always be fully familiar with referral sources and what they do. So I always tell friends that as a counselor, you need to be inquisitive small. Anywhere you go, try to be inquisitive. Ask, what do you do here? So that service quickly refer them to them. So here lies on the counselor's shoulder to be fully familiar with referral sources. Also, establish whether the potential receiving professional is willing or able to accept the referral. Anytime you make the decision to refer, make sure that the professional at the other side is willing or able to accept the referral, especially for the external referral. Because I work in a hospital, most of my referrals have been internal. So for the external ones, make sure the person is willing and able to accept. And then also prepare your written case summary in addition to the demographic information of the client. Yes, for some professionals, when they accept a referral, they prefer that you give them a written case summary, especially for the external ones. For the internal ones, you can just go and do oral form of referral. But for the external ones, you need that. So when that is the case in your situation, ask for the client's consent before you write anything about them to the other professional. It's very key. Otherwise, you can just develop a standardized consent form for the client to just sign and just attach it to the referral. Another important thing to note is that explain both the functions, fees, and terms of payment, and the limitations of these services. Don't give the impression that the referral facility has all the answers and can work wonders. Please. Just as you were able to tell your limits, they are professionals, they have expertise, but they are also humans. They may also have their limits. Okay. You must also brief a receiving professional so the client needs not repeat painful details. In sensitive cases like rape, let's say that the person came to see you first, the counselor first, and now you have assisted the client at least go through the relevant effects and all that. It's important that you refer the client to see the gynecologist for treatment of possible STIs, and even to the pharmacist for prevention of possible pregnancy. So is it that the client will tell you the story, when it gets to the gynae, tell the story, when it gets to pharmacy, tell the story? No. No. So help the client reduce the anxiety by briefing the receiving professional. And then also tell the client some the potential professional, such as personal characteristics, professional competencies, and receptiveness to the referral. Again, direct range.
Please, we lost you, we can't hear you.
Help make.
Please, we can't hear you.
Again, oh no. I'm not muted. Hello.
Yes.
Am I loud enough?
Yes, you can hear you, but you went off a little.
Sorry, thank you. Okay, so should I take the whole thing again?
Maybe just a step back and we can go on.
You mean this slide, or we should go to the previous slide?
The previous one, then we come back to this one.
Oh, I see. Okay. Dr. Sandra, please go back. Okay, so I was on this slide saying that always establish whether the potential receiving professional is willing or able to accept the referral. And then also prepare your written case summary in addition to the demographic information of the client, because for most referral, especially the external ones, the receiving professional will request for your written case summary. And I said that before you do that, ask for the client consent before, or you can just develop a standardized consent from where the client will just sign when you attach your referral. Then I said you should also explain the functions, fees, terms of payment, and limitations of these services. And also don't create the impression that the referral facility has all the answers and that they can work some magic for them. The reason is that the fact that you are also a professional and then you identify a limiting factor in yourself, it is possible for them also to be limited in some areas. So don't create that impression. Don't create that impression. And then we move to this one and we said, brief the receiving professional so that the client need not repeat painful details. And I just cited an example on, I think, rape. I used rape. I said, for instance, if someone gets raped and the person comes to see you first, sometimes they go and see the doctor first. But if the person comes to see you first, for instance, you sort the person out through the relevant effects, the fear and all that. And then it becomes important that you tell the person to see a gynecologist. You actually refer to see a gynecologist for possible treatment of STIs. And then subsequent referral to maybe the pharmacist for possible treatment of possible pregnancy, prevention of possible pregnancies. So I was saying that, so should the client repeat the story from you to the gynecologist and to the pharmacist? And I'm saying no, it shouldn't happen that way. Rather, help the client by briefing these professionals so that as soon as the client will be already know to reduce the client anxiety. Yes. And then I also said, try and offer direct assistance for the needed service. This will help make the referral stress-free and undue strain and avoid undue strain on the client. Of course, you are suggesting, it will surprise you that a client can tell, I don't need a referral. We have talked about it. So since you are suggesting it, every effort must be made to make it smooth for the client. This will help reduce the client's anxiety, actually, because they don't know who they are going to meet and all that. Okay, so let's look at writing the referral. Writing the referral. In writing the referral, please be straightforward and be tactful. And then try as much as possible. I'm saying try as much as possible to avoid labels and diagnosis. You can just depend on the constellation of symptoms that you have seen or observed from the client and write a referral. And then avoid making the referral an emergency or crisis situation. And also state the exact reason for your referral. The reason why I said you should avoid the labels or diagnosis is that you may be wrong. Yes, you may be wrong. Because most of the time, clients will share only selective information with you, thinking that the rest are not needed. But if you should refer to a specialist, per their training, they may delve deeper and get the client talking. And they will discover something else that will let them give a diagnosis that is more corresponding to what the client is feeling than what you did. I'm not saying what you did could be wrong. It could be right because of the amount of information you have. But to avoid the discrepancies and the rest, just try to avoid it. That's what I'm saying, as much as possible. Try to avoid it. And also, labels can be very stigmatizing. Labeling can be very stigmatizing. So let's try to avoid it. Okay, so we'll take some examples and then we'll see how to write the referrals. So this is a case, I'll read it so that it will help us see how the writing will go. So this is a 30-year-old lady visited a facility with a complaint of excessive weight loss for the past few months. After a series of relevant and appropriate investigations, she was finally diagnosed severe anemia with the cause unknown. There's a question mark by the cause. We don't know why. And also, this lady is RBI positive. Apparently, she knew her status, but she was in denial. Okay, so we are going to look at it from two phases. One, if the client came to you, the counselor first, how do you make a referral to another specialist? Or if the client went to see the doctor first, how would the doctor refer the case to you? Because per the story, there's a counseling need there, there's a medical need there. So let's take a look. This is the first part. Okay, so the demographic information is there. The name is Ama GPA. The age is 30. The department is hematology. So with this one, the client actually went to see the doctor first. Okay, then the date and everything is there. So dear counselor or psychologist, sorry, this patient or client has been stabilized and is being referred to you for follow-up management. Reason for referral: known RVI for the past 8 months, was in denial, hence never started treatment. She is also being managed by hematology as a case of anemia with an unknown cause. Simple, but it contains a lot of information and makes meaning. And then the doctor signs. So as soon as you receive this as a counselor, you know that this person has a condition, a chronic condition, and the person has not accepted it. And so as for the hematology issue, that is not your business. So let's look at the other referral. This time, let's say the client came to see you first. So the demo information is there, but the department is going to be the counseling unit. So dear doctor, this patient has gone through counseling. She is exhibiting acceptance of her status. That is, she's out of denial, and ARVs have started. Patient or client is being referred to you for follow-up management. Reason for referral is excessive and unexplained weight loss. Then you sign. You see, here, the doctor's business is to tackle the excessive and unexplained weight loss, because we have dealt with the psychological bit, the denial, the anger, the fear, the unacceptance of the condition.
Sorry, sound again, sound.
Yes. So that's it. So I believe we can see the two phases of this referral. Hello, please, can you hear me?
Yeah, we didn't hear for the past 2 minutes. We have never heard of you. We didn't hear you.
Oh,
The voice is not audible. It's low, very, very low.
I'm high volume. I don't know what.
Yes,
Is it better now, please?
The sample too. Yeah.
Okay, let me go back to the sample two. Okay, so I was saying, like I said initially, I said we are looking at the scenario in two phases. So we look at the point where the client went to see the doctor first. And so the doctor made a referral to us, the counselors. Now, the example two is the scenario where the client came to see the counselor first. So this is how the counselor will also refer the patient to the doctor. So I said, dear doctor, this patient has gone through counseling. She is exhibiting acceptance of her status. That is, she's out of denial. And ARVs started. Patient or client is being referred to you for follow-up management. And the reason for referral is excessive and unexplained weight loss. So in this referral, the doctor's job is to tackle the excessive and unexplained weight loss because the counselor has settled the denial issue and has made sure the client has accepted the condition and treatment has been done. You see how beautiful the referral can be made within one facility. Yes. So another setting. So this is also a story that will help us write a report. This is Efia GPA, a 13-year-old girl in JHS 3. In JHS 1 and 2, she was among the top 3 in academic performance. She formed a habit of sleeping through class. Her teachers, friends reported the matter to the counselor because their rebukes, punishment, and advice could not help. It made the matter rather worse. The counselor invited the girl to the office and had a chat with her. It was discovered that the girl did not even know what was happening to her and cannot give an account of what she has passed through, what she was passing through. All the counselor's efforts to help modify the behavior did not yield any significant improvement. And so the parents were invited and a decision on referral to a physician was made. So let's look at how the counselor made this referral to the physician. Okay. So yes, the demographic information will come as usual. Then the referral says, so this one says to the physician in charge, because at the moment we don't know which specific hospital the letter is going to. So the physician in charge. The above student is a 13-year-old girl in JHS 3 and attends school as GPC International School, Cape Coast. In JHS 1 and 2, she was among the top 3 in academic performance. Recently, she formed the habit of sleeping through class. She could not copy notes in class, submit assignments, or participate actively in class. All efforts by the school counselor to modify the behavior showed no significant improvement, and the behavior rather worsened. I am referring her to you for your attention and detailed evaluation. So you see this one too, very direct, very tactful, very straightforward. Then you always sign with your details. So this is just a feedback to let you see or appreciate the effectiveness of referrals. So based on the story, later a letter came from the family that the girl was diagnosed with a brain tumor. It was successful, and the girl came back to school and didn't. So this is just to let you see the effectiveness of referral. So we must not waste time to refer. We must not insist on what we think we know and say that, no, I think I can handle this matter. No, I think I should wait a little. No, as soon as you feel this is too much, just refer. Okay. So I believe that so far, our notes and our referral should not be difficult anymore. It should not be difficult at all. Let's move to the report writing. Report writing. Okay. So when we say reports and notes can actually be used interchangeably to a large extent, seriously. That's that. The format you adapt in writing the report will depend on the purpose and where the report is going. So a counseling report is the official record of the meeting with the client. Official record of the meeting with the client. A professional report should demonstrate knowledge of the principle of human behavior and methods of treating emotional and behavioral disorders. The next slide, please. Okay. Also, a professional report presents clients to interested readers or sponsors. A professional report presents clients to interested readers and sponsors in a way that improves understanding. summarizes facts in order, and assists in generating treatment plans appropriate for the individual. Also, the report reviews background information and summarizes key elements that contribute to a complete description of the client status and support your diagnosis and treatment recommendations. The report must also state your observations of the client's behavior throughout the intake process and interactions during counseling, and then report any testing or assessment along with brief description of the instrument used, what it measured, and the client's reaction during the testing. This bit depends strongly on where the report is going. You don't just report on assessments, please. Don't report on someone's assessment to a third party. That's like that. No.
Please, we didn't hear that part very well.
Which part, please?
Yes, I
The
think
last
that,
bit.
yes, your sound went low, so we didn't hear.
Okay, yes, please. I was saying that you should report on testing alongside with the brief description of the instruments you used and what it measured. Yes. And then I said that this is purely based on where the report someone's assessment to a third party. No. So based on, I remember initially I said that the report is based on where it is going and for what purpose. So consider the knowledge and reading level of those receiving the reports. Very, very key. Consider the knowledge and reading level of those receiving the reports. Check for spelling and grammar correctness, and then remove unnecessary jargons. Yes. If a boss refers a staff to you and you are reporting back, you don't need to put in jargons and stuff because the boss does not understand those jargons. Just write in plain English. And then after that, you can sign your reports with your names, then academic degree or license information. How you want. So we'll take an example again to give us better understanding. Okay, this is also another case scenario. So the HR manager refers a staff who is having personal difficulties that adversely affecting his work performance. The staff has been exhibiting signs of depression and has become non-productive. That is employee assistance program. You know, the staff came to see you for treatment against his wish because his job was at stake. This, however, forced you as a counselor to do mandatory counseling. And after that, the manager now requires a report from you. How do you write this report? Okay, so let's see. Because the manager suspected something and referred the person to you, you must also either confirm or deny what the manager is suspecting. So yes, you can administer a tool and see what is happening. So this is just an example. I didn't use any tool. I just keyed in words and write those things. Please, just an example. So for instance, at the first day, this was the person's assessment. All in red: severe depression, severe anxiety, severe stress. So indeed, the person has a problem. But please, you don't report this to the manager. So after probably 3 sessions with the clients, you administer the test again. And whoa, the numbers are reduced. This should tell you that something has happened. Some amount of treatment has occurred. So it is always advisable that you base your report on treatments done client state to base your report on treatment results. Just to put it on a safer side. So in reporting, you have to be tactful so you don't break confidentiality. This is a confidential document. So be tactful and you don't rush to break this news to the manager. Hey, indeed, the person you brought, all in red. No. So be tactful and don't break confidentiality. And also don't put yourself in a complicated position as a counselor. Yes. So let's see how this report is also written. Okay. So yes, the demographic information is there. And then, so for the salutation, you can use dear sir or madam, especially if you know who the letter is, if it's a male or a female, you can just say that. Or if it's a general letter you are writing, it's okay to say to whom it may concern. But Sandra, kindly move to the next slide. And so let's see how this referral is written. It says, with reference to your referral on 2nd January 2023, the client's concerns have been managed and has significantly been treated. The catchword here is significantly been treated. Indeed, when you look at the results, there is a significant treatment and found fit to work with supervision and follow up. This may look like a two-line report, but it contains everything to the point of you giving a recommendation. So if this person goes back to the office and changes his mind that, oh, let me continue and kill myself, because he stated categorically that it is fit to work with supervision, follow up schedule to see you every week, once a week, 2 p.m. on Fridays. So you are safe. Then you sign with your information. Another example, this one is to agencies. So as part of requirements for employment or traveling documentations, organizations are now requesting for mental state assessment to report. Okay. Should one of these candidates come to you, how would you write the report? So what happens is that you administer the battery, the tool, score and get your ratings. And the good thing about this is that the agencies always come with their own formats. The agencies come with their own format. So what you do is that just take the sheets and tick appropriately with your scores and just sign. As simple as that. You don't need to write anything. Then let's take the third example. The third example for medical purpose. So this is also a short scenario so that we get to understanding. As part of the multidisciplinary hospital team, it is expected that each team member reports or make an input on every patient during or after ward rounds. As a counselor on the team, how do you go about your reports? And this report can be orally done or can be written. For ward round, they stand there and then now they talk. Everybody say what they have seen, etc. So either way around, just pay attention to the general observation of the patient. This is critical for the counselors that works in hospitals. Their mental states, the patient's attitude towards medication, will also tell you something. And then, is there any emotional or psychological disorders mimicking a medical condition, or the other way around? Is there a medical condition mimicking a psychological or emotional disorder? For instance, when somebody is anemic, the person may look like a depressed person. We are not going there. And then patient's reaction to new chronic disease diagnosis. Pay attention to palliative care need of patients and their relatives. And also use all terms and jargons because you are among fellow professionals. And they need your input to make clinical decisions with patients. Okay. So another example, I think we have talked about this already, but it's fine, let's go through this. This form of reporting goes to the individual and it's private and confidential. So for instance, someone comes to you and then takes assessment because for reasons best known to the person or something, and then you administer. And this is the result, and this is how you report the result to the person, not the person's boss or not the person's father, not the person's mother, but the person, the one or hello, congratulations for successfully taking an assessment. Here are your reports. Depression scored 0, meaning that you have a normal depression. For anxiety, you scored 7, meaning that you have a normal anxiety. For stress, is normal. With this, yes, it may look like the client is fine, which indeed looks good, but because the figure all the figures are not 0. So it could in future lead to the fact you are keeping your depression, anxiety,
We are sorry, we can't hear you. Hello?
Hello, we can't
Please, we
hear
can't hear
anything.
you. Okay, I think she has network challenge. We'll get her on.
Excuse me, colleagues. If we turn off our videos, we can all enjoy a better session. We don't need to see participants. Please, let's turn off our videos. And those who are not asking questions or anything, just turn off, mute your device so that we can all enjoy the session. Thank you.
Please, we can't hear you.
oh, okay. Hello.
Yes, welcome back. You went off for about the past 3 minutes. So if you could please take it over again for us. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. So I was saying that this is another way of reporting and assessments, but it is private. We don't report this to a third party. So this is how you can go about it. By just congratulating the person for even taking the assessment. And then you interpret the results to them. And then encourage them. I was saying that since all the numbers, the figures that they got are not 0, it's indicating to the condition. So we can encourage them that though, yes, you have scored lower marks, you can still come for further exploration session. When you are comfortable with that, you can come to me so that I take you through sessions to deal with the underlying factors. And then you just thank the person or congratulate the person, unless, of course, the client gives you their consent. You can go ahead. So let's take, I think, the last example on reports. There's another way to write it, under headings. You can go writing under head. So this is the demo information. And then, like I said, all these are hypothetical. So for instance, present level of performance. You can start from somewhere. Present
Sorry,
however, when the conversation is both, yes, no, I don't know, oh, is it better?
Yeah, the network
Hello.
is actually breaking, so we are not getting it.
Okay.
Very well.
Take it again. So I was saying that we are taking another example, but this time it's where you can write your report under headings. Under headings, depending on what the case and where you are. So these are just examples. So the first is present level of performance. And under it is, a student loves to talk about his hobbies and activities when he is prompted. However, when the conversation is boring, he will provide close-ended statements like yes, no, I don't know, and will not follow up with a statement unless he is prompted. He also speeds through his assignments as he wants to get them over with. And then the next is progress in meeting goals. So this student struggles with pacing himself throughout the examination. And currently, he is not sure if he does not understand the material or is rushing because of disinterest. When asked this, he answers. He also lacks interest in computer. These are just scenarios. Then, so what are the current goals the client is trying to achieve? In 1 year, the students will be able to consequences of writing. At the same time, he should also explore coping strategies he might experience when he becomes frustrated or overwhelmed in class. He will also learn strategies and coping skills to increase productivity, insight, and achievements in this period. These are examples. Then, so that's the current goal. Now, what's the new goals for the students? So students will continue to focus on becoming aware of the reasons for his disinterest in school. Then achievement of this goal will be demonstrated by the student really discussing his motivation or disinterest in sessions in 3 out of 4 consecutive weeks. That's a decision by the counselor. Then you can give your recommendation that students will continue to benefit from one-on-one counseling session once a week for 45 minutes. So this is also another way of reporting. This is also another way of reporting. And I hope that after today, writing our report should be stress-free. So conclusion. If you can't remember everything that we have shared, at least remember this small, yes, I've termed it car. Remember this car, C-A-R, car. That counselors should be familiar with referral sources and do not delay in referring matters beyond their competence. Always check if a court order is valid before releasing client notes. And then discuss note retention period with your client. Remember, we said you can keep the notes for 7 years, after which you can destroy it. So if you see a client today and he comes back to you after 8 years demanding for the notes, sorry, it will not be available. And then lastly, reports must present the client to interested readers in a way that improves good understanding. You saw how he reported the gentleman to the manager. Yes, be careful not to compromise confidentiality when reporting. Now, before we share the last slide, I would like to acknowledge our mother, Dr. Bonzi, for her book called A Guide to Practicum. People, if you don't have a copy, grab a copy. It will give you a lot of understanding of what we have shared today. I bought mine at 50 cedis, and I don't know if it's the same price, but I think it's cool. 50 cedis for this knowledge is cool. So I encourage that, get in touch with her and grab a copy of her book called A Guide to Practicum. I would also like to thank a few people who supported me backstage. They know themselves. I am so grateful to you, and also to you, Jones, for this great opportunity. I'm so grateful. And also for the audience, thank you for your attention. Thank you so much. So lastly, Sandra, kindly put it up. Yes, thank you very much.
Wonderful presentation. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Amen.
All right. Thank you. So please, do you have any other slide to share with us? All right, so on this note, we would like to say thank you so much for this presentation. Yes, the network has been on and off, but thankfully we are here, and we really do appreciate your time and presentation. I can also see some appreciations in the chat room, saying thank you, very good presentation it is. So on this note, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to open the floor for questions. Please, if you have a question, you put up your hand and you'll be called. You can equally put the question in the chat box where I'll read out for our facilitator to respond. So if you
Please,
have any question,
I can't
please.
hear you. Please, can you speak louder?
All right, so I'm saying we now open the floor for questions. So if you have any question to ask, you can raise up your hand and then ask. We'll call you and you ask a question. You can equally put a question in the chat box where we'll read for you, for the presenter to respond to. So if there are any questions, please just put up your hand and we'll call you. All right, thank you.
Please check the chat box.
I wish if you could label your device. I can see Zoom user. Your hand is up, but I don't know the name behind the Zoom user. So please, if you can hear me, kindly speak.
It's Lydia Bonzo.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Lydia,
We enjoyed it
okay,
very much.
my question is, from the presentation, who is supposed to fill the intake form? Is it the counselor or the client? Thank you.
All right. Madam Sabina, please. Are you with us?
Oh, okay. Yes, please. The intake form is for the client, but it ends at a specific point. Then the counselor continues from there. So if you notice, started from a point, then the counselor will append the signature, then you continue to get to one document. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so there's no other hand up. Let me read some few messages in the chat. So Kingsley Ayiram said, if I refer clients to a fellow counselor or psychologist, they will have to start from scratch if I don't quote the diagnosis and explain any theoretical method. I need the guidance because I did not see this in your referral notes, and it might make the client session last longer. I concur that a physician doesn't need all that. Madam Sabana, please, this is a message from Kingsley.
They will have to start. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes, please. You can hear you now.
I'm trying to answer the second question.
All right.
Yes, if you refer and then you don't tell the referring professional anything about the client, then you are going to make the work difficult for them because they don't know why you are referring. And therefore, they have to start from scratch. Yes. That's to the best of my knowledge, that's what will happen. They may have to start from scratch since you haven't told them anything about the client. That is why in the slide we said at least brief them. Or in your referral, make sure you write your reason for referral. Otherwise, they have to start from scratch. Thank you.
Yeah, Madam Sabana, please, we can't hear you.
Yes, so please, I was saying that if you don't pre-inform them about the client's consent, definitely they may have to start from scratch because they don't know what is happening. They don't have any information on the client, so they have to start from the beginning. Yes, please.
Okay, there is this second question. He said, please, do you have to ask for the consent of the client before you discard info after 7 years?
No, please. You don't need a client consent in that matter. That is why you have to discuss this at the beginning so they are aware. Yes. But we can still, we are all learning. I did not come across it anyway, but I don't think you need a client consent for discarding. No.
All right, Galaxy 822, please. Your hand is up. Galaxy 822.
Okay.
Okay, so those asking for the slides, as we said, we shared the Google form for you to fill. So you complete the forms and everything will be sent into your email to you. So kindly fill the forms. I will share the link again. You can fill the form and then we will send the documents to you, including the certificate. Someone is asking, Rejoice, Akopa is asking, where can they find the book? I think Dr. Bonis book, the guide to practice. He said, where can they find it?
I will find I will be sure of it. I know, but I will be sure. I'll have to be sure of it. Then we'll share it on the platform, please. Yes, I will make sure of it. Then we'll talk about it on the platform. Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Because I bought mine during the AGM. Yes, I bought mine during the AGM. So I don't know the specific spots for now. I will make it and then share it with you on the platform, please.
All right. So this is from Emmanuel again. Said, please, I want you to repeat how to check for subpoena order. I want you to repeat how to check the subpoena order.
You mean the validity? Is that what you want to know?
Emmanuel, please, if you can clarify the question.
Yes, please. The validity.
All right.
The validity of the subpoena order. Yeah.
So I said, yes. Anytime you get a court order, you should check for the validity. And this is how you do that. First, check if the order has given you ample time. This is very critical. Has it given you ample time to prepare for a court? Or is just a short notice kind of report that is rushing you to come to court? No, doubt it. And then also, is the court or does the subpoena satisfy all the requirements or the conditions for breaking confidential news? That is, do they have the client's consent? Is there a legal, a protective order? The protective order is such that the court will promise to you, the counselor, that as by using all the photocopies or the documents you bring to court, they will make sure they return all, including all forms of photocopy, back to you. That's the protective order. So the jurisdiction, because you can't be as a counselor, it doesn't work that way. Please, I hope you are clear.
All right, thank you very much. From Gillian, he said, I realized.
Thank you very much.
Gillian said,
you're welcome, Emmanuel.
I realized in the referral note, name of hospital or facility wasn't stated. Or is it that you would have to leave it open?
It was stated.
Yes.
Oh, you mean the name of the hospital?
Yes, the name of the hospital.
So most of the time for hospital, they have their printed sheets with the hospital. Hospital has the referral sheets with their name. You can develop one yourself and bring the details of the hospital, including the name there. Yes, because here the referrals here has the hospital's logo and name on it. Yes, please.
All right, thank you very much.
Have I answered you?
Yes, I think you have. Galaxy A22, please, can you hear us? Your hand has been up for a while now. Okay, so we have an information here from Godwin Ameto. He said, the book is on University of Education, Winneba North Campus Counseling Psychology Department. Mr. Marco has some copies. So those of you in Winneba, you can check the Counseling Psychology Department and you can get a copy, Guide to Practical by.
Okay, okay, thank you. It's a good book. Does the person know the price, the current price, please? You should tell us. If the person is aware of the price, kindly share with us.
Okay, so I'm sure he might if he had.
Please, the book is and
okay,
we can help you get the book.
This Mark, please, can you come clearer?
I said the price of the book is 50 cedis. and we can help you get it. So I'll put my number on the, I'll send it by SMS so that anyone who needs it.
Currently it's 70 series.
Hey, sorry, I'm late.
I just got
What
my
is 70 series?
yeah, 70.
The
I
book.
got it a week ago.
Please, I
mine
didn't
for
hear
60
you.
cities.
Okay,
What
ladies
is
and
70
gentlemen,
series?
please, can we be calm? So the question on board is, there is this book, Guide to Practical, authored by
Okay.
Dr. Dr. Bonzi, and they're asking how much is the current price. So someone says 50, someone also says 70. And where to get it? Godwin says you can get it at University of Education, Winneba campus, at the psychology.
Winneba campus. Oh, okay. Which department?
Counseling Psychology Department. So they asked for Mr. Amako, and I'm sure you get some.
Okay.
Yeah, please. The office is 304. That's the office.
Office is what? 334.
Yeah, 304.
304. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And the amount is how much?
Amount is 70 Ghana cedis. 70.
Serious. Okay.
Thank you. Madam Savannah, please, there is a question here. I said, what do you think? Please, let's all be muted so that we can take the question.
Oh, please, let me say this before I forget. I wanted to say that thank you to the gentleman who gave us the update. But I wish that you collaborate with me and let me know so that we organize it. Those who are interested, we can organize it, and because it's at Winneba, it's not all of us who can get access to the place. So if we can all come together, make the arrangements, make payments so that he gets it for them, that will be fine.
All right, thank you very much. So I'll also put my number in the chat. Anyone who wants, they could also contact me. I'll link you with Madam Sabina.
Yeah, exactly. That will do. Thank you very much.
All right, please let's take a question from Kingsley. He said, what do you think about the argument that the secretary should complete the intake paperwork for the counselor before the client meets with the psychologist or counselor? Let me say it again. What do you think about the argument that the secretary should complete the intake paperwork for counseling before the client meets with a psychologist or counselor? And Savannah, please, are you clear with the question?
So the secretary is, I think so. So I think the secretary is there to guide the client through the facilities, to rather email it. But for facilities that have secretaries that who probably cannot read and write, that situation is also okay. So if you can't read or write, it's done with the counselor in the session. I forget, intake notes.
Sorry, we can't hear you. Madam Savannah, please, we can't hear you. Okay, I think the network is relatively bad at Madam Savannah's place. So we wait as she joins to respond to the question. Please, with the certificate, I've shared the Google form If you need it, please you fill it and then submit. For members of the association, that's GPA, who are in good standing, you have to pay 20 cedis. If you open a form, all the payment procedure is stated over there. So 20 cedis if you are a member of the association and in good standing. And it's 50 cedis if you are not a member of GPA, or you're a member, however, you are not in good standing, that you have to pay 50 cedis. So you complete the form and then upload. Once we get it, we work on it. The form can also be completed after the program. At least you have now till Monday to complete the form. So just relax and then work on the form. From now to Monday, you can complete the form. And I've also shared my number in the chat box. If you need any further information after the program, you can please just contact me and we will take it up from there. My name is Jones Tampo. Okay, Dr. Singh, I offer the book is A Guide to Practicum by Dr. Mrs. Epiphania Bonsi. She authored the book. So those who were at the last AGM, that's Psychological Association AGM, she brought copies and some members bought from that place. It's a very nice book. I can promise you that. So if you are interested in counseling, kindly get a copy for yourself. It has every information you should know. And then I want to also let you understand that this webinar we are organizing is something we've arranged to be happening every month, once in a month, at least till August. And however, if a different division has its CPD coming up, because we are all under the same umbrella, Ghana Psychological Association, but we have divisions. So this, the division of lay and paraprofessionals, we organize these. So counseling division is also organizing a CPD. So if their date comes out and the gap between theirs and ours is too close, you may hold on for them to have theirs rolled out. However, if the date is not yet out, next month we will still be having another interesting topic to be discussed. So keep watching the space and we will surely get back to you. Those who have registered for the certificate, please, after the program, the administrator will work on every certificate and submit it to your email addresses. Please, the last meeting, the last one we had, there were these challenges. Some people had mistakes in their email address. Please, the email, even if there is one space in any of the characters, realize that it becomes wrong. So let's check the email addresses very well so that you can receive the certificate. Everybody that has submitted a form will surely get the certificate and the slides from the presentation as well. We will send it to your email. The recordings will also be shared to everyone. So be rest assured. Please, is there any other question? Because sorry, Madam Elizabeth, we can't hear you. Sorry, we are not hearing you. Sorry.
Hello, Mr. Jones.